Ladies and gentlemen, the speech has been crafted in a powerful motivational style inspired by T.D. Jakes. Let me know if you'd like to tweak any sections or explore further ideas. I've expanded on the first keynote, weaving in depth and focus as you requested. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to refine or enhance. The expansion for Keynote 2 is complete. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like adjusted or refined. Here we go again. Stop fighting battles that were never meant for you. Stop engaging with things that are beneath the purpose God has for your life. You see, some of you are spending too much energy trying to convince people who were never supposed to go with you in the first place. You're arguing with situations, wrestling with circumstances, trying to fix things that God never told you to fix. Stop arguing with what has no place in your destiny. Well, you know what I'm talking about. You wake up in the morning and the weight of yesterday's conflict is still hanging over you. That argument, that conversation, that little voice in your head telling you to go back and prove yourself. Let me tell you something. God never asked you to prove anything to anybody. God didn't call you to waste your time justifying where He's taking you. The vision He gave you wasn't a group project. It's yours. And not everybody has the clearance to understand it. Listen, I need you to catch this. When Nehemiah was building the wall, the enemy came to distract him. They sent messages, they sent lies, they sent mockery. But Nehemiah had something we all need today, discernment. He said, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Somebody in here needs to declare that over your life today. You are doing a great work and you cannot come down to argue, to debate, to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. I know it feels like if you just said the right thing, if you just explained it one more time, maybe, just maybe, they would get it. But can I tell you the truth? Some people don't want to get it. Some people don't want to see you thrive. They're not invested in your breakthrough. They're invested in your breakdown. Oh, I know that's hard to hear. But you got to stop feeding the things that are starving your soul. You've got to stop watering weeds and wondering why your garden isn't growing. You're giving your power away every time you step down to fight battles that don't belong to you. God said He would fight for you. You just need to be still. But here you are, all caught up in trying to fix what only God can fix, trying to heal what only God can heal, trying to change what only God can change. And all the while, you're delaying your progress. You're exhausting your spirit. You're letting the enemy steal your focus. Let me tell you, focus is your superpower. Oh, yes, it is. When you focus on what God has called you to do, when you lock into your purpose, when you set your eyes on the prize and refuse to be distracted, there is nothing that can stop you. But when you let every little thing pull you away, when you allow every voice, every criticism, every challenge to shift your attention, you're giving away the very thing that makes you dangerous to the enemy. Focus isn't just about blocking out distractions. It's about staying connected to your source. You've got to stay connected to the one who gave you the vision in the first place. How do you do that? Through prayer, through meditation, through staying in the Word. When you stay connected to God, He strengthens your spirit, renews your mind, and equips you to stay on track. But the moment you take your eyes off Him and start engaging with things that don't matter, you're giving the enemy an opening to pull you off course. And so, think about Peter walking on water. As long as his eyes were on Jesus, he was defying the laws of nature. He was doing the impossible. But the moment he looked at the wind and the waves, he started to sink. That's what happens when you lose focus. That's what happens when you let the noise around you drown out the voice within you. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on the promise. Keep your eyes on the purpose He's planted in your heart. Discernment over debate is a skill that will save you not only time, but your energy, your peace, and your purpose. It's the wisdom to know when to speak and when to stay silent. It's the courage to let people think what they want to think while you stay anchored in what God told you to do. Some of you are losing sleep over trying to change minds that were never open to you in the first place. Let me remind you of this. Your identity is not in their approval. Your calling is not dependent on their validation. And your worth is not tied to their opinions. Do you remember when Jesus stood before Pilate? He was accused, ridiculed, and questioned, and yet he said so little. He didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He didn't try to prove who he was because he already knew who he was. Some of you are wasting time trying to convince people who will never see you for who you really are. Stop fighting battles that are beneath you. Jesus didn't engage because he knew the truth didn't need defending. Jesus didn't engage because he knew the truth didn't need defending. The truth will stand on its own. And the same is true for you. God will vindicate you. God will fight for you. God will prove what needs to be proven in his time. Your job is to trust him and keep moving forward. The need to debate often stems from insecurity. We argue because we want to feel heard, validated, or understood. But when you know who you are and whose you are, you can walk in a room and let your presence speak for itself. You don't have to shout your worth when your spirit already carries the evidence of your value. You don't have to explain your calling when your fruit speaks for itself. Let your life be the testimony. Let your success be the evidence. Let your peace be the proof that you're walking in the will of God. The enemy knows that if he can keep you arguing, he can keep you distracted. And if he can keep you distracted, he can keep you from fulfilling your purpose. Don't fall into his trap. Every time you engage in unnecessary debates, you're giving the enemy a foothold. Every time you try to justify yourself, you're stepping out of the flow of God's grace. God didn't call you to win arguments. He called you to win souls. He didn't call you to defend yourself. He called you to defend the truth of his word. And sometimes the best way to do that is by living it, not debating it. Let's be real. Not every argument is even worth winning. Some people are so set in their ways that no amount of talking will change their mind, and that's okay. It's not your job to change people. That's God's job. It's your job to walk in obedience, to stay in alignment, and to let God handle the rest. The Bible says, do not cast your pearls before swine. In other words, don't waste what is precious on those who won't appreciate it. Save your energy for the battles that matter, the ones that God has equipped you to fight. And let me tell you this, silence can be powerful. Oh yes, it can. Sometimes the loudest thing you can do is say nothing at all. When you choose not to engage, when you choose not to react, you're showing strength, not weakness. You're showing that your peace is more valuable than their opinion. You're showing that you're confident enough in who you are and what God has called you to do that you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. That kind of confidence is intimidating to the enemy because it shows that you're rooted in something deeper, something stronger, something eternal. Discernment means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to fight and when to walk away. It's the wisdom to choose your battles wisely. It's the understanding that not every challenge is a call to arms, and not every opposition is worth your time. There are battles that God has called you to fight, and there are battles that he's called you to let go of. The key is knowing the difference. When David faced Goliath, he didn't waste time arguing with his brothers who doubted him. He didn't try to convince King Saul that he was capable. He didn't engage with the crowd that probably thought he was crazy. No, he stayed focused on the task at hand. He knew that the real battle wasn't with his critics or his doubters. It was with the giant in front of him. And because he kept his focus, because he didn't get distracted by unnecessary debates, he walked away with the victory. When you walk in discernment, you stop reacting to everything around you. You stop letting every little comment, every little critique, every little challenge pull you off course. You become intentional about where you spend your energy, your time, and your focus. And that intentionality is what will set you apart. It's what will elevate you. It's what will allow you to walk in the fullness of what God has for you. Don't let pride keep you in battles that God never called you to fight. Sometimes we argue because we want to be right. But being right isn't always the goal. Being in alignment with God is the goal. Being at peace is the goal. Walking in your purpose is the goal. So let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the need to prove yourself. Let go of the need to win every argument. Winning doesn't always mean coming out on top. Sometimes it means walking away with your peace intact. When you reach, you can walk away with your peace intact. When you choose to focus on your assignment, Keynote 3 has been expanded and added to the document. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments or additional edits.